my name is Dana Citron. I'm the Vice President of Marketing for Orbital Fire Cybersecurity, and I'm so happy to be here today to host this podcast, Women Leaders in Manufacturing. We're sponsored by LIMAP, the Long Island Manufacturers Extension Program, with their Executive Director, Amy Erickson. I'm looking forward to having her on another episode for you to check out. We're also here today at Stony Brook University within the Office of Research and Innovation. I am so excited to introduce my guest for today. This is Joan Gladkey. She is the president of Cypress Group, as well as an adjunct professor at SUNY Stony Brook. Joan, it's such a pleasure to have you here.
Thank you.
Thank you. So as we get started, I'd love for you first to talk a little bit about what Cypress Group does.
We're a consulting company, been in business a long time. We help companies become more competitive. We work primarily with manufacturers, we work with distributors, we work with all kinds of companies, but primarily manufacturing. Of our client base, I would say 80%, 85 maybe even, is aerospace and defense companies. And they're all different kinds of companies, machine shops, electronics. Some people make knobs, it's control knobs. It doesn't matter what they make. We're all about improving their processes and helping them achieve quality standards.
So now, I know you're located in Long Island. Are most of your customers also on Long Island, or do you go to, across?
Right now they are, but we've done projects all over the place. We've done projects in probably half the states, and the Far East. I've done a project in Taiwan. I've done a project in China. So we get around.
That's nice. Well, I love that. Now, you talked about manufacturers of all kinds, from machine shops to aerospace firms, optimize their systems and processes.
Mm-hmm.
What's the biggest operational challenge you see facing those small manufacturers?
There's always more requirements and regulations being placed upon companies, especially in aerospace, because of the critical nature of what they make. And you can understand that.
Sure.
You know, people want a safe plane. That's it.
Yeah.
So that's one of the things. Finding people these days is really hard. There's a shortage of personnel and people with skills, and you need the skilled trades to make aircraft parts.
Now, do you find with that shortage, is there certain areas where you're seeing those shortages in terms of the skilled labor, or does it really go across?
It goes across the board, but I know I'm involved with the Navy project, buildsubmarines.com, and they really have a problem with welders. Just all the trades, welders, electricians, all people who put things together. I mean, people think that manufacturing is such a, I don't really want to go into a factory. It's not like that at all. It just isn't like that. And there's such a great sense of camaraderie and pride in what you do when you realize what you're doing and who it's for. And when I train people at manufacturing companies, I talk about Mr. Customer a lot. And the customer, the actual customer, is the pilot and his or her family to bring them home safely. That's what your parts are doing. So it's a different world.
I love that, and that's really kind of bringing it back down to why does this matter?
That's right. That's right. We had a client who they made DC servo motors, small motors, and they would run sexy things like sewing machines. And then we had quality problems that we were trying to solve at that company. And people get involved in what they're doing and not look at the bigger picture. So the sales team and I started doing customer profiles. Every Friday, we do a customer profile. What are we making for them? And what does that thing do? And we got, the first one was, they made the motor, you know, the little rovers, the ROVs for reconnaissance in the Army. So this thing went up the hill, and a periscope came up, and they made the motor that made the top go around the camera so that some GI's head doesn't get blown off. You can see it on the camera. So how many of you have brothers, sisters, dads, kids in the Army these days? This has to be good stuff. Following week, we got a medical application. One of their customers was GE Medical. And they made heart pump motors. So let me think a minute. So I said to the group, and we had 100 people out in the floor. We did it out in manufacturing. And I said, if your most precious child was going in for surgery and you went in the operating room and you said, would you say, thank God it's ours, or oh my God, it's ours? And I see you next week. And you could hear a pin drop in that factory the next 6 hours. And that was the day quality really changed at that company, when you bring the application into the forefront. So you're not just making parts here.
It really, and I think that really, I think, comes to the next point that I was going to say, which is when you work at the intersection of quality management and people development, and how do you kind of combine those two in scientific?
I think whatever job you have to know how to deal with people. It's not limited to aerospace. It's not limited to manufacturing. People skills are the most important thing you can develop in your lifetime. I had 2 courses that were life-changing for me. The Dale Carnegie course to let me speak better and not get overly nervous and be able to present to people. And Tony Robbins. So I went through the whole Tony Robbins series. And it's such powerful training to really get to develop yourself. And that's a skill that you're not going to go places if you can't deal with people. Part of my job is sometimes refereeing the Hatfields and the McCoys when I go to a manufacturing company. Yeah, because everybody's frustrated, everybody's angry at everybody else, everybody does this. But at the end of the day, I don't care whether you like each other. I'm not asking you to go out to lunch together. I'm not telling you got to join the bowling league. I'm not telling you got to kiss each other on the lips. I am telling you we're going to figure out a way to work together, period, because we need to fix this problem. That's it. No prisoners, no hold barred, no kicking, biting, or scratching.
Right, we're all here for the same mission, for the same team.
We all have jobs. We all have responsibilities. We're going to work this out together.
Well, I'd love to, I know that you came from an entrepreneurial family. How much did that play a part in kind of what you do today, and how did that really frame the way you look at things?
I think it's risk-taking with a level of security, which is hard to do because you have 2 dynamically opposed forces that, you have to be brave and courageous. And I tell that to people all the time. You have to be brave and courageous. Life is not predictable. Life doesn't follow the plan. And your plan needs to be follow life and deal with whatever happens. A surfer doesn't control the wave. A surfer learns how to ride whatever wave is next. And that's how we have to act. That's how we have to deal with each other in business.
I love you made a comment to me saying, it feels great when you have a plan, and it's a great place to start.
Yeah.
But you can't hold on to that too tightly because at any moment things are going to change, right?
As you move through the day or the month or the year, all of a sudden new information comes in. And what your brilliant plan was in January, by June, so many other things have come into play that it's no longer a good plan. So change it, modify it. Let's just make an adjustment. Plane flying from here to Europe, they don't have a set course. They kind of do this and magically find Europe.
That's right. Hopefully with the systems that were precision made correctly. Right?
That's right. That's right. Or they know the North Star.
That's right. That's right. Now, what role does curiosity play in building long-term success in both, kind of your consulting side of what you do and on the education side?
I think curiosity is one of the greatest tools that you can have. And I think it's where thinking about things and going, I wonder if this would work, doesn't cost anything. And we need to encourage kids to be creative so that they grow up to be creative and thinking outside the box adults, because that's where true breakthroughs come from and innovation. And if you're doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results, guess what? Not going to happen. So I think curiosity should be encouraged, and questioning should be encouraged. You should be comfortable with each other, whether it's around a conference table or at home, saying, well, you know what? I know we had this in mind, but maybe let's think about this. What would impact us if we did it this way? And always be open to other people's ideas.
Oh, absolutely. And I love that. And as a consultant, as an educator, how do you see the next generation of female talent and leaders? How are they showing up differently? And are you seeing a shift?
I definitely am from when I started my career. I think they're braver. I think they're stronger. I think they're more knowledgeable. They don't come in as the girl. They come in as a powerful peer. And I think they're much more prepared for what they're going to face in the job. And if they're not, they're willing to learn, and they go take the extra effort and extra time to learn about the new company, learn about new products, learn about the product portfolio of their company. So I'm encouraged. I think that my friend's daughter graduated. She now has an undergraduate and a graduate mechanical engineering degree, and she just finished her professional engineer certification, which is a big deal. And she's brave and courageous.
I love that. And how do you see mentors? You know, whether you as a mentor or others in the field or mentors that maybe you have, how do they make an impact?
I think that they make a dramatic, life-changing impact on people in your ability to be confident. I'll tell you, when I was in high school, I really didn't want to go to college. I wanted a job. I wanted to get an apartment, and I wanted to start my life. And I had a business practice teacher because I took business classes in high school. And she wrote on my report card, Mrs. Chris Lavas, Joan will have a most successful business career. I still remember it. And every time I try and do something that's difficult, or I question whether I should try it, I think of her. You know, for the first 20 years of starting the business, I thought of her a lot.
And that's something how I think is such a great example. I think as a mentor, you don't always realize how big of an impact you're really having.
You're right.
Right? I think in something as small as that.
That's right.
Can make such a titanic,
yes.
But, you know, such a monumental.
No, you're right. You can't explain that big enough. You can't find an adjective big enough to explain how that impact happens on people. I run team training where we do process improvement teams, and I usually run 4 or 5 groups of about 5 people, mixed discipline, somebody from purchasing, somebody from manufacturing, the stockroom, mixed group. And we give them a problem from the company, so it has value.
Yeah.
And they work every week through problem solving, and I teach them all the different problem solving tools, quality tools. And at the end, they have to give a presentation on their findings and their recommendations. So I had this one group go through, and an older lady was petrified as soon as I said presentation. So I said, look, you need to be there because you're a part of the team. You will have learned and participated and understand what you guys did. You were at every meeting. I said, if you don't want to talk, you don't have to, but you have to be here and look professional. So we had the presentations in a very big conference room. And each team had a table and the wall behind it to put their presentation. And and the president of the company was going to go through, and this was a 1,200-person company, so it was big. So all the VPs, everybody got a half an hour to go look at the presentations. So it wasn't somebody standing on stage and presenting. It was more like a science fair. Yeah. So it was more comfortable. I made sure the first group that went through was their departments, so that they were just chatting with peers and get the words out and organized. And then the VPs and president came in later on. So this lady was petrified. So I said, look, just stand there and you be Vanna. You point to the charts. You don't even have to open your mouth. By the third group that went through, she's yakking away with people talking about what they did. And the president of VPs come in, and she goes over and grabs him by the arm and says, "Let me show you." And I'm like, "What happened to you?" So it's moments like that that are the most rewarding for me. That's what juices me. That's what makes me happy.
It's great. And I love how those things can happen at any point in your career.
Yes.
The fact that she was doing that. I mean,
Yeah.
years, I'm sure.
Giving
of
people
panic,
confidence.
right?
Yeah.
I love it.
People know a lot more than they think.
Yeah.
And as soon as you allow them to discover, yes, you can do that, whole new ballgame. Whenever I run that class, and I put, I don't know, 2,000 people through that one, there's always somebody who blossoms, at least one person in every group that I sit back and I go, wow.
This must be so rewarding.
It is. It's like watching your kid graduate kindergarten, you know, in all seriousness.
Yeah, no,
it's
I
a
get it.
big fat deal.
I love. So is that part of, you work in so many sectors.
Yeah.
You go across. What keeps you energized and focused on manufacturing and just what you do?
I like what I do. I love what I do. I enjoy people a lot. And I know in this country that manufacturing has not been respected to the level it needs to be. I know that if we do not restore manufacturing in this country, we're not going to have one. I've been talking about it for 25 years, not just recently. And this is my part of making things better. Manufacturing creates wealth, economic wealth. Service pushes it around. You can have so many lawyers, so many dry cleaners, so many restaurants. If you don't have manufacturing as the base of your dollar value, you don't have an economy. We all have to make something to sell to the world. That's where the economy gets stimulated. And that's what makes me move forward. I've gotten laid off twice in my life. It's not fun. The last time is what spurred my business partner and I to start a company. It's because I watched 900 of my friends get laid off over a 3-year period. The first group was, yay, Deadwood, get out.
Yeah.
But after that, each time it was more and more painful. And not on my watch. So we decided to start a company to help people become more competitive. Therefore, you go and get more business, hire more people, and the world is better.
Is there kind of an organization that you work with for a time that you feel most proud of? You saw that leadership that really, helped save an organization or turn it around or see that kind of success. Maybe you have a lot of them.
Yeah, I pick one. I had one company, it was a distributor, and it was a family-run business. There were about 50 or 60 people in the company. And it was the mom and the dad and the 2 daughters and 2 sons and son-in-law and a couple of cousins. And the daughter, one of the daughters, became the quality manager. Distributors typically don't have, or didn't before, have a quality manager. So I went in to implement an aerospace quality system, AS9120, which is for distributors. And they had another consultant first who totally destroyed this young woman emotionally and confidence-wise. And I thought, how dare you? How dare you? So we started working together, and she got stronger and stronger and stronger and learned and absorbed and worked hard. And the company improved their ability to ship on time, all the things that we were monitoring, because the monitoring and measurements, key process indicators, are important to see, did it work? We made changes. Did it work? And to me, the best day was when she didn't need to ask me a question. And she answered it, and she was strong, and she looked another person in the eye, one of their suppliers, and she stood up for the company, and she stood up for herself. That was her graduation. Yeah, it was great.
That gives me chills too. But just to have that kind of
yeah, it's very rewarding. I also take it as a big responsibility. You know, you got to teach people to fish. I try and teach people so that they can be self-sustaining. Nobody should depend on a consultant to do the job in their company. Teach people to fish and then move on to the next one, because there's enough screwed up companies out there to keep me busy. But yeah, that's probably the most rewarding piece. There's a bunch of different stories like that you know, you put in your book and you think about these people for years and years.
Like that little letter from high school. Right?
That's right, Mrs. Christobus.
Really fantastic.
Tuck it away.
That's right. And it keeps you going.
It does. It does.
Yeah. Now, what do you say to women who want to build a career, say, outside the C-suite? They're not interested. Not everybody wants to be the president, which is exactly how it should be, right? People need to find their path, but they want to make a big, you know, what was your advice?
There isn't a single job that if you're a great leader, you can't make an impact on a company. Not a single job in the building, right down to the janitors. It doesn't matter. It's your people skills, again, in helping each other, fixing problems, working together. That's really where the biggest impact, whether you're in purchasing, whether you're helping the company improve their supplier base, because has been typically a lot of supply chain issues in aerospace, in all manufacturing, especially with COVID. So coming up with an easier way to do something, a couple alternative suppliers, you can have a tremendous impact. Manufacturing, to me, is an extremely rewarding job, especially if you get a job in a company who has great products or products that you rely on, that you say, I want to be a part of making these great products, and or an industry that you like. But leadership and being a great personality and being the person, the one that people come to, you can't have a better impact on a company. You don't have to be the president. Leadership doesn't mean you have to wear a suit.
It's interesting, and especially if you're able to, going back to what you said in the beginning, keeping an eye on the prize. You know, what are we all here?
Why are we here?
Right? Why are we
What
here?
are we doing?
And helping to be that person that reminds people, or
Yes.
to keep that. Right?
What's the target? Yeah, because then they don't focus on each other and get ready.
Right.
They focus on this.
Thank you for that. What's the one lesson you always hope your students, and I know that you work with students that are in the workforce, they're adults as they continue in education. What do you hope they take away from it?
Always have a positive attitude. You know, we may not be able to see how to fix something right now, but we need to keep working at it. We will either find a way or make one. And I think that a positive attitude, any class I do, I have a section on positive attitude. Only because I think it's the most important attribute you can have. Whether you believe you can or believe you can't, you're right.
That's very true. Very true. Well, Joan, this has been wonderful, and I really appreciate talking with you. And I know that you're, as I am, a part of ADAPT, which is an important organization for the aerospace and defense community here in Long Island. And we really want to thank them. I know that you're active in that organization. They really do help advocate and foster women.
Yes, they do.
In this industry. And so thank you for being part of that as
Thank
well.
you.
So great. Enjoyed this very much.
Me too. Thank
Thanks.
you.